Okay, hopefully you had some time to process all of this, to look this over and come up with any questions that you might have. Let's talk about formatting your slides now, so that there is this extra element of how the slides look that we haven't really talked about in this class so far. So in order to research this, I have, let me see, I'm on a different page here. I have gone to this website. This is a TED blog, and it has 10 tips on how to make slides that communicate your idea. Please take some moments to read through this. I think we're covering a lot of these, but it's always good to get some outside information. So we definitely are thinking about our slides last because we've already written all of the content. We're going to talk about a consistent look and feel. The topic transitions, we've already talked a lot about logical progression of your ideas. So hopefully you're putting these in an order where the transitions are pretty obvious and you're using those in your speech, you're using those transitions. This is a key one, and we're going to talk about this in the document that I created, but you should not be writing incomplete sentences. You should not be writing full paragraphs. Everything on your slide should be a bulleted list or a numbered list or a list of keywords. Including photos, we're definitely going to talk about that. Transitions, images, panning large images, not using autoplay. We'll talk about the different types of recording programs and software that you could use. You are certainly welcome to include your charts, but they need to be simplified. They need to be very clear and easy to see on the slides. Okay, and I think that was it. So please take a moment to look through this, browse through it. You're not going to have a quiz on it, but it's only going to enhance your final presentation. So if you're worried about your grade, I would definitely pay attention to these kinds of things. All right, so that is the website that we were just at. Some of the things that I always consider when it comes to formatting are the alignment, the grouping, and the font. And these are the three things that I'm going to be looking at when it comes to format. First of all, each slide should have a title, and that title, if possible, should relate to an action. It should be an action-oriented heading. With presentations, you know that keeping the audience's interest is always key. So as much action or active verbs that you could include, they're going to have more punch. Okay, also the text should probably be left justified. There's no need to center your lists. We read from left to right, so starting things at the left margin is ideal. The centered text is okay, but really the titles are the only thing that should be centered or right aligned. Unless, I guess if you have an image or something like that, there may be some cases where you would put your text on the right side, but generally use left justified text. Grouping. On each slide, as I said, you should have a bullet list. You should have a bullet list, or you should have some kind of phrases. You should not be writing in complete paragraphs. It is just too difficult for the audience to read and listen at the same time. So just use this sort of like your notes to keep you oriented and let the reader know where you're going to next. But primarily, we should be listening to your voice. Okay, along with the idea of it coming in a list, there should be 5 or less major points, 5 or fewer major points, not more than 5. If you have more than 5 points, then you should divide that into 2 slides, and you have the option to include as many slides as you want. Hopefully you don't have more than 5 details about a single topic that you're going to cover. Now, I've seen a lot of information about the font, and sometimes people say you should not use a font size smaller than 30. I think that that's pretty big, but it's a good idea to keep in mind. I'm not going to say you can't go lower than 30, because obviously going to a size smaller than 30 is going to be readable, but you definitely don't want to use something the size that you would use for a document, okay? This is going to be, typically when you're doing a presentation, it's projected over a large space, so you want people to be able to read it from a distance. So one of the things to consider is using a consistent font. Obviously, don't change the font style every single slide. Keep it consistent so that the reader feels like the whole thing is cohesive. If you want to use two fonts, like one for the titles and one for the body, that's fine, but they should be pretty similar to each other. As far as colors go, dark text on a white background is best. It is possible to use light text having a dark background and having light text on front of it. It's possible, but it can be pretty difficult to read sometimes. So make sure that it's just aesthetically pleasing and it could be seen from a distance. Okay, the very last thing is about photos and other visual elements. Because this is a presentation, we do need to think about the visual aesthetic here. So you should choose a consistent theme. Try to choose a theme that relates to your topic. That I understand how difficult that can be. When I'm talking about the theme, I'm talking about the colors, the style, how things are placed on the page. Obviously, those aren't going to be very easy to relate to your topic, but then consider your tone. Are you trying to create a tone that is hopeful and motivating? Are you trying to create a tone that is active and dynamic and forceful? Are you trying to create a tone that is serious and somber and formal? Just think about these things and make a conscious decision about what kind of theme is going to serve your topic best. You should include images. This is sometimes tricky in more formal essays, but you can use icons, you can use graphics, anything that is relevant to the topic on that page. Try to keep it a little bit serious and formal. They, maybe shouldn't be cartoons, but provide something that's going to give the reader some kind of visual interest other than just words. Another way to do visual interest other than images is to add captions or pull quotes. We talked just a moment ago about including some of your charts. If you include a chart, you should definitely include a caption. A pull quote is when a single quote or a sentence that someone said is magnified and shown bigger than the rest of the text. And sometimes you see these in like magazine articles. There'll be a big quote featured. This is a very good way to include your empirical research. If you did an interview, if somebody provided you with a really good quote and you want someplace to put it, you can definitely include a pull quote if it's something that you're going to talk about in your essay. Okay, those are the only key tips I have for you when it comes to formatting. Definitely read the website, but these are the things that I'm definitely going to be grading on. Do you have strong headings? Is the alignment correct? Have you included lists and short phrases instead of paragraphs and sentences? And is your font readable and clear? I will, of course, also be looking for images, including captions, quotes, icons, graphics, and paying attention to your theme. So as far as the format part of your grade goes, this is the kind of stuff that I'm going to be looking at. Please take a minute to start thinking about how you're going to approach each of these, and then we can discuss this further in class. So again, if you have questions or if you want to start putting your slides together, then you can bring us any issues that you're having. We can share them when we're all together as a group. Okay, see you guys in a few minutes.